my fellow comic book collectors. This is going to be, well, we promised to do a Wakanda Forever review, but we're going to go further than that. That's not big enough for us. We got to go big or go home. So we're going to go, what if? We're going to play a what if game. What if we were Kevin Feige, and what would we do for Marvel? What would we do for Wakanda Forever? What would we do for the whole MCU? What would we do if we were Kevin Feige? So Mark and I are going to discuss that, and it's going to be some fun. And then we're going to do on his channel, what if again, but what if we are the DC side of it? Okay, so we're going to go on to the DC side with James Gunn. So Mark, I guess I'll let you go first. You can sort of Kevin Feige.
So what we were meant to be doing this week is we were meant to be reviewing Wakanda Forever, but Alan put up a large rant on his on his channel. He went to see it and he put a large rant on his channel. He gave it a score out of 5 out of 10, and then went on to describe a movie that he really wanted to give 1 out of 10. He says this wasn't a review. However, go and watch it. Go and watch it. What was it?
There's a complaint from a scientific standpoint.
So, and I haven't seen it, so wherefore we can't review Wakanda Forever. So, as Alan says, we are going to pretend that between us we're Kevin Feige, and each of us is going to pick 3 things that we would do if we were Kevin Feige. Right. I'm going to go first. Okay.
You go first.
This will be similar to one of Alan's ones, so I'll get it in first.
Mm-hmm.
I would say to my creators, to the directors, I'd get them all in a room and I'd say, stop selling an agenda. Go and tell a story. Okay. That would be my first message to them. No agendas. Just tell great stories. Okay. For me, that would sort out a lot of the issues. The best stuff that's come out of Marvel, the last Spider-Man movie, for instance, Spider-Man No Way, which I thought was fantastic.
No agenda.
No agenda. It was just a story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was their biggest box office success. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, that would be the first thing that I would do if I was Kevin Feige. I'd get them all in a room and I'd say, no agenda. I just want to see a great story put in front of me, you know? So there you go, Alan. That's the number one thing I would do if I was Kevin Feige. I would just get them to drop whatever agendas it is they've got, because agendas don't make good stories.
Okay, so Mark, you're much nicer than I am. I'm actually pretty evil. So what I would do is go one step further than that, because you have my point. We both agree on that same first point. I would say, not only would I say, don't put an agenda in the movies, don't put an agenda in anything. I would say anyone that was putting an agenda, any of the writers that were putting an agenda into stuff, you're fired. I just fire everybody. Fire them, maybe go after their family and fire them as well. Even though they're not even hired, I would fire everybody associated to that person that was putting agendas into Marvel, because they were destroying the company. So I'm a little bit more bloodthirsty in terms of getting rid of these woke people in the company. So I'd get rid of them all, fire them, because I think they would be hopeless. I don't even think they have the writing chops to even write a real story. So just fire them and get some real writers in there. There are some really great writers at Marvel, and give them sort of a leg up. There's a lot of writers that actually left Marvel because they were good writers and they were getting frustrated with the whole Marvel experience. So I'd give those people the time and the credit that they deserve. Bring them back, get the company kind of back on the right track. So I'm out for blood if I'm Kevin Feige, because I want to make the company do well. And they don't even have to, like, I explained this in another rant. I do a lot of rants. I don't know. I sound like a kind of crazy guy, but I did this rant where I was talking about how I felt like they have to get rid of these writers first, but also get on track. Find the stories that were there already. They already have an arsenal of stories. It's not like they have to write anything. They just go back into the comics. There's great stories in the comics, and leverage those. And don't add anything to it. You don't have to add anything. It's not like we need like 20 chefs to make the soup taste better. It's already great. Just find the stories that people love from the past and retell those stories. So much simpler. So that's my first one.
Okay, so we've both got the same points, except you'd be nastier than me.
I'm mean. You're a nice guy, so.
Okay, so my second one is a bit similar to the sort of point you made, which is, go back. So I've just written down here Fantastic Four, Doom, and Silver Surfer. I'd get them into the MCU as quick as possible. I know there's a Fantastic Four film scheduled, but these are key characters in the Marvel universe, done correctly. And you just there's loads of stories for these guys. Just do the Galactus story, just do the Silver Surfer story as it was written, and you can build a whole, there's a whole load of stories and films that you can do based around Galactus, Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four. You've got 15 years of films there if you do it right, and if you get it correct. So for me, they haven't approached those characters yet within the MCU. Yes, they've been done before by previous people, but they haven't they haven't been done particularly well. With the modern CGI, with the modern filmmaking, with the resources that you have now at Disney, with the streaming channel and the films, and you can make a much better films. You can go and get whatever actors you want to get because you can afford them, and they'll want to play these characters. So, that would be my second thing that I'd do, is I'd bring the plans forward for classic stories like that.
Yeah. So I'm going to add to that. So I'm just cheating here. I'm basically, whatever Mark says, I'll just take it and go one step more nuclear on it. Basically, way back when, I actually watched the cartoon series for Silver Surfer. And if you haven't watched the cartoon series for Silver Surfer, it is brilliant, actually. It tells that whole journey from Silver Surfer when he's just a normal guy, Norman Rad, and all the way up to when he becomes like the servant of Galactus, and then continues on when he rejects being a servant of Galactus.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even need the Fantastic Four to tell that story.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I'm going with this. So my point is, right now they have actually 3 platforms. They might not realize they actually have 4 platforms. They have the comics that they can tell great stories in. They have, but Kevin Feige really is not involved with that. But then they have the TV series on Disney Plus, and they have what's called the one-shot Disney series, like Werewolf by Night is a good example of that. And then they have the movies. So if it was me, what I find that what they do is they take whatever movie it is, and they try to shoehorn every story into that one movie.
Yeah.
Okay? And that doesn't work. The people don't get it. Like, it's like, who is this? I don't know what this character is. It's confusing. It's just too much.
And I think that was part of the problem with the previous Fantastic Four stuff. They didn't take the time over it. The Infinity War was done well because it was done over 3 movies.
Point. They did it over 10 years or something crazy, right?
Yeah.
So that's my point. I would take the time. You got these, like, before you really just had the movies. Now they have like multiple ways that they could really tell the story. So my point is, what you could do is have a Silver Surfer TV series, right? Where you kind of build up the character. Don't do it like you did with Wanda. Like, Wanda and all those ones were done wrong. They told too little of a story across too many episodes. Like, She-Hulk is the same way. It was like too little of a story like at the end, I actually wasn't even sure what the story was in She-Hulk. But so the point is, like, they told too little of a story in the TV episodes and too much of a story in the movies. So what I would do is tell more story in the TV series and less of a story in the big movies, where you do basically you build up the character through the TV series so that people already know it's already in their psyche. They like, because when they introduced in the last Fantastic Four, when they introduced the Silver Surfer, it's just like, oh, here's the Silver Surfer. It's like, okay, who's this? Why is he on a surfboard? It doesn't make any sense. So the point is, if they build it up through the TV series first, and then build that character, then use the one shot to do a tie over, where like it's sort of like a kind of a them meeting, that crossover between Fantastic Four and Silver Surfer, or even have another series about Fantastic Four and then do the crossover, and then go to the movie where you take it to that epic level, where you say, now it's Galactus. And you can introduce Galactus by himself. You can say, what the heck is this? This is a big thing going on here. And it becomes that, kind of an event. In a way, the fans will actually expect the movie to be that climax to all this other stuff that they built up. And it's just like the way Endgame was. They did it through movies and it took 10 years. I don't want them to take 10 years. I want them to do it a little quicker. But my point is, they're desperate for content on Disney Plus. Utilize that. Why not just put all that content onto these streaming platforms, but do it correctly, where you kind of build up that story. So that'd be my method. Like, so I'm taking your idea, but I'm going a little bit further with it. So just keep on giving me ideas, and I'll just keep on building on them, get all the credit.
Right. So, Alan, is your third point that you want them to be believable and technologically correct? Because it was a lot of ranting in your review of Wakanda about, oh, well, that just wouldn't work technically. That's silly. Why are they doing that? Why are they standing at the edge of the dome? And and I'm sure they'd have a more, come on. These are escapist superhero movies. We have to have a suspension of, I think for Shakespeare, it was called, when I was at school, they called it the
suspension of disbelief.
Disbelief.
Well,
come on, you read Miss Marvel and Miss Fury, these women going around in negligees fighting crime. You don't review them by saying this book is rubbish, because it's ridiculous that a woman dressed in a bikini would be fighting people. So why are you applying one rule to Wakanda Forever and a different rule to the comics you like?
Yeah, so the way it works is women in bikinis and lingerie, that totally makes sense to me. I can understand that. There's a logic behind that. There's a whole, society built around that makes sense. For example, Red Sonja, look at her. She's in a bikini. It makes sense. So I understand that. That's logical. But when you have a submarine in a movie, and you literally surface the submarine and fight on top of the deck of that submarine, hand-to-hand combat, that doesn't make logical sense. So there's a certain disbelief that I can handle, and there's a certain amount of
I think that was a fair that was your strongest argument. I think I didn't like your argument about why are they using spears, because look at some of your heroic, Wonder Woman uses a lasso,
but it's a different kind of battle. The big thing that they set up with Wakanda Forever. So we are doing a little bit of a review of Wakanda Forever, even though Mark has no idea.
No, I'm just basing it on what you
I can make up stuff. There was like, you remember the elephants? And then he'd be like, oh yeah, the elephant. No. So I have a bit of an advantage here because he hasn't seen the movie, but I'll dispute the thing with the spirit. So the idea is this: they set up the concept that Wakanda is this technological marvel. It's way ahead of the rest of the world, and that is what they set up, right? And they set up the same for Namor's society, or Namor. Jeez, I hate that. It's got into my brain, the Namor, Namor, the Namor. It's got into my brain.
It's a dark side moment.
Yeah, exactly. So they set up that they're both these technologically advanced things, way better than us. Like they're way better than us. They're Wakanda. Like they're that kind of a thing. So if you're going to set up that, I want to see that. So I want to see them fighting at that level. In a way, they kind of try to make it like African-y, and in a way, they kind of.
Yeah, but they'd just be firing missiles at each other, or it wouldn't be very interesting, would it?
Well, that's my point. It wouldn't be very interesting. But what you do is just like with Wonder Woman. This is why your example with Wonder Woman actually makes sense. Wonder Woman actually comes from advanced society as well.
Exactly.
They have some crazy technology too. But what you do is you set up situations where all of a sudden you can't use that technology. So, for example, with Wonder Woman, she's always in like a shopping mall, and if you start using like laser beams and all this kind of stuff, uh, it doesn't really help people in shopping malls because they get zapped. Um, so
Unless you're fighting on top of a submarine in a shopping mall.
Yeah, then you should use your laser cannons and all that kind of stuff. So but my point is like you create the situation, you can set you set up a situation where all of a sudden the technology is not used. It's sort of like the scenes where the two guys have guns and all of a sudden they're fist fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
it's like in modern horror movies, you always have to find a way of getting rid of everybody's mobile phones.
exactly. Yeah. So there's ways of doing that. It is what you have to do because we do want to see that physical confrontation, especially if they're wearing lingerie. That just goes without saying. So that'd be my comment. So what is your third point, by the way?
So my third point, you're going to find this a bit strange, okay?
Okay.
Because the one-off sort of Halloween special that they did with the with Swamp Thing and not Swamp Thing, Man Thing and Werewolf by Night was extremely good. It's one of the better things that I think
I like
they've done. But I don't think they should go down the horror route. I just do not think
Oh,
they
wow.
got away with that because they did it in black and white, so they weren't showing blood, so they could get it with a decent, they didn't have to give it a whatever it is, adult rating.
Sure.
I just don't think Disney and the MCU is the place for horror movies. So I would not be steering down that direction. That was a one-off for me, and it's the exception that proves the rule that they shouldn't be doing it because they had an extremely good director. The whole thing was beautifully done.
I like the fact that they did it as like a film noir style.
Yeah. They should stop while they're ahead. Whatever they do next on the horror front is not going to work, in my honest opinion. And if I was Kevin Feige, I would not be steering down that route.
Okay. I'm going to differ on this. Actually, my third point was actually like my dream. Like this is my dream for Marvel or for DC or any of these things. I want the stories to be told, all of them. Like I want as much content out there as possible because I'm total geek. Like I love this stuff. I love all the characters. I want to see Miss Mask. I want to see Lady Luck. I want to see all those characters in their own shows, in their own things. I want to see as much content as possible. I want to be binge watching 24/7 for the rest of my life, kind of thing. So I want all that content. So I kind of understand your point that it could be going off track by going down that horror route. But the way I would do it, just to kind of counteract your thing, is that way back when Disney, Disney was known for actually producing stuff for kids. Not, I actually have to say it that way because it's like nowadays it's all agenda. But they had like a separate division. I think it was like Lightning Studios or something like that. Like it was like a different studio that they would kind of use, and then they would do more adult content through that. Okay, so they would have like this kind of like, and they would kind of keep the two separate. I think as long as they did that, where they have almost like Universal Monsters kind of section to the Disney thing, and just go like that, where they don't cross over, I think it could work. Where you just tell the stories,
Yeah,
you know it's
maybe.
going to be horror, you know it's
Maybe.
going to be,
If they did that, I think I'd be all right with it.
yeah, but
Because
no
the
crossover.
Disney, they could still stream it on the Disney Channel because it's got a system of, you can only watch this if you're 16 and over and that type of thing.
Yeah, because they are going to do Marvel Zombies, and
Yeah, and I thought the way they did the cartoon one for me was dire. I
no,
really
really, I enjoyed it. So
thought it
that
was
one I actually
awful.
enjoyed.
It was my worst one. I thought it was dreadful. It
Oh,
was trying to
really?
be funny, and it was just didn't work for me. It didn't make me smile once. I just thought it was dire. I could have written that better, when I was 15. It was awful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the problem with like those kind of series, is that it's so short. They got, I think it's like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And, if you have a zombie apocalypse, you need a little bit more time to tell that story.
Yeah, I mean, it was, oh, well, so, Black Widow's dead. Ha 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 ha. Let's wonder who's going to get killed next.
Well, actually, we should almost create a fourth point. A fourth point is I'd get rid of Marvel humor.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be another thing. Like, I just like they didn't do it as much in one saving grace of Wakanda Forever is the fact that they didn't go that humor route. They didn't say, "Oh, Chadwick Boseman's dead." Ha ha. Did you see that? I know they didn't do that. So they didn't joke. They kept it solemn. They kept it serious. So that the Marvel humor can get really, really
It
tedious.
can be overdone. I mean, sometimes it's fine. The
Sometimes it's fine.
Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, fine.
Worked, yeah, it worked well. Where they failed, Thor Ragnarok was good, for
Yeah,
example.
and that
It
was
had a lot of
that was
humor.
quite funny in
It
bits.
was right at the edge.
Yeah,
If they threw in one more joke, it would have, But the problem with Thor: Love and Thunder was it's about cancer. The cancer is not the funniest thing you can be talking about, right? And it's like they just they were making light of everything. So that she would tell them, "Oh, I'm dying of cancer," and the next moment they'd be joking about something. So to me, if they could get rid of that, like that, take the moment, enjoy the moment in a way, enjoy the moment of that serious, like this is something serious, instead of making a joke every 5 seconds. So that'd be my other last thing. If I was Kevin Feige, I'd just tone the humor down a bit. So yeah.
yeah. So are they going to do the Marvel Zombies thing as just a
Yeah, they're going to do it
extension?
as a series.
Yeah, I know, but are they going to do it as a jokey thing like they did with the cartoon, or are they going to
I
do it as
doubt
a
it.
horror thing?
I don't know. I don't. That's a good question. I have no idea.
So they do it as a
If it's a
joke.
jokey thing, that I find that's one thing I find like right now with movies in general, like the way that there's sort of a irreverence for life in general. Like for example in Wakanda Forever, again we're doing a little bit of a review of Wakanda Forever. There was a scene where they literally kill like a whole bunch of cops. Like, and these are supposed to be the good guys that kill the cops. Like normally in a movie, you set it up by showing bad guy killing cops. That's like, and then people were like, yeah, they're really evil. We got to fight them. But in this, it's the good guys killing the cops, and we're supposed to cheer for them. And it's just sort of it's an irreverence for authority. It's a reverence for anyone. It's just like lack of respect for human life. I find that is going on in movies. Like people get killed, and it's like, oh, that's okay. But then if one of them get killed, then they're like really, really tragic. Oh, it's super tragic. It's like, it's you can't really respect heroes when that's the case, right? Where what makes a hero is that they respect life. Batman doesn't kill anyone. It's law and order. In these movies, I find that they don't respect human life. It's kind of weird. But yeah, that was just I don't know. That's another gripe I had about Wakanda Forever.
Okay, so there's how we'd fix the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think in the comments below. Are we idiots, or is everything fine and hunky dory in the Marvel cinematic?
Universe. Yeah. And what would you do in the comments below if you were Kevin Feige? I'd like to hear people's what their opinions would be. So I'd be really curious about that. And we should write a letter to Kevin Feige with all these great points.
Well, I know he can come and watch the video.
Yeah,
I'm sure he watches the price variance every week, Alan.
he should. He should. It's like, it's one of the best shows on TV, on the internet. So yeah. So we're gonna do the same thing. If you enjoyed this, even if you didn't enjoy this, go over to Mark's channel and you gotta watch the second part where we're gonna be James Gunn. So that's gonna be fun. Go over there, watch it, and bye for now.